as I can for this practice test. You can pause me and rewatch, but I'm going to be talking quickly. So our square root you want to break down to simplify into its prime factors. So I'm just always taking out the smallest thing. We've done this before. This should go quickly, and you'll get 3 and 5, and you always get this hockey stick, as I call it, and you're looking for pairs. When you take a pair out, you're taking the square root of the pair, so just that 2 comes out. There are no other pairs, so it's 2 root 2 times 3 times 5, which equals 2 root 30. That's as good as you can go. So that is what's called simplified radical form. The same idea is true here. 20 is 2 and 10, and 2 and 5, so a tiny little hockey stick with just one pair, again 2's. The 5 is left behind, so 2, leave yourself some space, because I can take out a pair of x's, and they come out as 1x, and what's left behind is my 5 and one of the 3 x's. I can take out 3 pairs of y's, so that goes like that, and there are no y's left behind. All right, so now this is a matter of just doing some distribution. We've practiced this. Hopefully you're getting fast and accurate. 6x squared minus 6x equals 2x plus 7. We're only writing it in simplified standard quadratic form. We do not have to factor. So I need to get everything over on one side, set it equal to 0. So that is going to become then, when I take away 2x, it'll become 8x. Still got the 6x squared. There's no other x squareds to combine. I'll bring everything over to the side that that's on, and I'll get minus 8x because I subtract 2x from both sides. And then I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides, and I will get that, okay? Then this is just a matter of foiling. X squared, you should be wicked good at this. Outside is minus x, inside is plus 5x, and then minus 5. This then becomes x squared plus 4x minus 5, okay? Here are some ugly fractions, but we do the same thing. We just do it carefully. You can use your calculator to help. 1/2 of 10 is 5x squared then. And then the rainbow bits, 1/2 x times 1/3 is going to be minus 1/6 x. Inside bits, the 5 and the 10 will cancel, and I'll get just a 2 times 3 is plus 6x. And then the fractions for the last part, 3's cancel, and I get minus 1/5. So just go carefully. Again, you can use your calculator. I get 5x squared. Then this is 5 and 5/6. If you do that fraction work, go carefully. Find a common denominator if you need to. But really, it's fairly straightforward to think about taking 1/6 away from one of these 6 x's, and you'll get 5/6 left over. So that's plus 5 and 5/6, or you could call it 35/6 x, and then minus 1/5. Okay, down here, combine like terms. I see only x squared there. I see only x to the 3rd power there. So it's going to be minus x to the 3rd minus x squared. I see an x and an x, so plus 6 and minus 12 gives me minus 6x. Oh, then plus 2x. I can make that then be a minus 4x. So you might make a mistake, but as you go through and you sort of do each of these, you can kind of cross them off. And I now get a 3y. There's no other y's there. And then a 7 and a 5 give me plus 12. And I've taken care of that, and that, and that, and that, and that, and I should be good. That's just a 4. And if you need to recopy it after a rough draft, that's okay too. Now here, again, combining like terms, just go carefully, do the distribution. That's minus 2x squared, and then a minus gets distributed in. So remember, that's going to be then minus 4x. And then I've got a minus 10x squared. I've got a y squared. You don't have to put these in any particular order, but it's often customary to do the largest exponents first. And I just like writing a minus 10x squared after the y squared. No one way you have to do that. But then minus 2x squared, okay? I can write it again so I don't have to scribble it out. I'll combine those. And then 20x minus 4x, I can combine those and get plus 16x. Oh, then plus another x. I'm going to write that there. And that's taking care of that. And then plus 6y. So a lot of it is just knowing that you can't combine things. Don't feel like you need to get one big mashup number with x's and y's. Simply look for things that are identical matches in the type of thing they are. So then the final answer is y squared. Then that becomes minus 12x squared. And that becomes plus 17x. And then plus 6y. And I think we're good. Now on to the next page. It says, for each of the following, identify the GCF. You do do not factor. We just want to know what can we take out. The biggest thing we could take out of here is just a 2x. That's all we can take out. We'll be gone with the x's, and we can't take out more than a 2. Here, I can't take an x out of 60, but I can take a 4 out of 8 and 60. I can take 2 x's out before they're all gone here, and that's x to the second. And I can take out 2 y's there before they're all gone. So that's my GCF. Here, I can take out 40 from each of these, and I can take out 2 x's. So you should get pretty fast at this with a little bit of practice. I can take out how many y's? I can take out 2 before they're all gone there as well. I can't take out any z's. So that's that, okay? Now here's where we actually get down to factoring. Same skill, but now we're actually gonna take this out. So I can take out a 12 from both of these. And then when I think about that, I often like to put parentheses around and actually physically think about dividing by 12. I would get 1. I have x's in both of these places, but I have only 1. So I can take out a 12x. So when I divide this by 12x, everything cancels except the x is left. When I divide this by 12x, everything cancels, but I'm left with 3. And you can always check. It's a wonderful thing about math is you can check your answer and see if you get the same thing, and lo and behold, you will. You'll get 12x squared plus 36x. Here I can factor. This is an x and this is an x. Go through that thought process where I'm looking for things that multiply to make negative 18 and add to make 3. So I'm going with 18, and the factors, I could do 1 and 18, 2 and 9, up 3 and 6. 3 times 6 makes 18, and I need this to be a plus 6 and a minus 3, so when I add them I get plus 3. So x minus 3 and x plus 6. That's the factoring. It's not equal to 0. I don't have to solve anything yet. Same thing here. X plus 1, x plus 35. That's the only way to get 36. Here I can take out 2x, and what's left behind is 5x squared and then minus 18. And we'll stop there. You'll learn in future years that you can actually factor that further, but these are all factored for us. Okay, a rectangle has a length that's 10 units greater than the width. Draw the rectangle, please. You've got to draw a picture. This is the width, this is the length, and the length is equal to 10 more than the width. 10 plus w, or w plus 10. The area is always going to be length times width. So that's going to be equal to, then I'll put the w first, and I'll write w plus 10, because that's a little bit more customary. But you can put the w there, you could switch the 10 and the w, you'll still bring in that w, and you'll get w squared plus 10w. And we know that that is equal to 600. So if we want to actually solve this, then we need to move the 600 over there and get it equal to 0, because that's our technique with quadratics. So w squared plus 10w minus 600, and now we factor. That is how we solve these. What things multiply to make 600 that have a difference of 10? Okay, so you can just go through systematically, and I think you're going to find out that 600, with all of your multiplying options, 20 times 30 will give you 600. So it's x plus 30 and x minus 20. And when is that equal to 0? When these each individually are equal to 0. And so this is going to be your one real answer, because we can have a dimension that's 20 by 30. and that gives us our rectangle with the correct area. All right, so then last page, it's all about solving. We're looking for x values that work, and extracting a root is about working from the outside to the in. This is the inside, so I'm going to take away 7 from both sides first. When I do that, I get 56. 2x squared equals 56. Then I will divide by 2, and I'll get x squared equals 28. And now when I square root both sides, I'm going to be doing the square root of 28. I want to simplify that, and I do my 2 and 14 and 2 and 7, and that's a lot like problems on the first page, where we can say that our final answer, don't forget the plus or minus, is going to be x plus 2 root 7 and x minus, and minus 2 root 7, the positive and the negative square roots of 28. Okay, here's when we're solving by factoring. So again, work on those factoring skills. This is equal to 0. It's x and x. What things multiply to make positive 19 and add up to make positive 90 and add up to make negative 19? That's going to be negative 9 times a negative 10. Give you a positive 90. And when will this be equal to 0? When will this be equal to 0? When x is 9 and 10. Okay? So here's another one by factoring. Here we have to do some movement. We've got to rewrite this in standard form, x squared, then plus 110x, and then plus 280 equals 0. And I see there's a GCF. I can take out a 10, cancel a 0 everywhere, and I get x squared. Now, if I divide everything by 10, that divided by 10, that divided by 10, that divided by 10, we're dividing 0 by 10, which still gives us 0. So we end up with x squared plus 11x plus 28 equals 0. Hopefully this is easy to factor. Things that multiply to make 28 are 4 and 7. And if they're positive, they're both the same sign. And you can often fill them in as minuses, and then you change it if this is a plus to plus, and you leave it if that's a minus as those minus signs. But once again, when are these equal to 0? When they're the opposite of those. So it's minus 4 and minus 7, and that's in no particular order. In the home stretch here, so we've got something where we need to do some expanding and solving. This is a little bit like what we did in class. Bring in the negative 2, you get negative 20x. Bring in the negative, whoops, careful, read carefully there, Mr. Olson. That is squared. I need to FOIL that first. You have to pay attention to those parentheses. So it's negative 2 times, when I FOIL this, that's 10x minus 5 times itself, 10x minus 5. So this is a challenging problem. And then plus 7, and that equals negative 43. So that's negative 2 times 100x squared, and then there's 50, and there's 50, and so then I'm going to get minus 100x, and then plus 25, and then I'm going to bring 43 over and add it, and I'll be doing plus 50 equals 0. All right, so now I can distribute in the negative 2. Let's do that. There's 2 ways to do it, but this is, I think, is the most standard. So minus 200, because that's a minus 2, plus minus 200x squared plus 200x, then minus 50, ooh, plus 50, I like that. Those cancel, and then I get negative 200x squared plus 200x equals 0. And I'm going to factor out a GCF of negative 200. When I do that, I get negative 200 taken out, and when I divide that, I get just x squared. Well, I'll take out an x as well, 200x. And when I take out negative 200x, I just get x. When I take out negative 200 and I divide by negative 200x, 200's cancel, the x's cancel, and I get minus 1. When is that equal to 0, and when is that equal to 0? 200x is equal to 0 only when x is 0, and this is equal to 0 when x is positive 1. All right?